You might want to make sure you're sitting down before we review week 7 of our observation beehive project. Raising honeybees is like raising children. No matter how much you love them, no matter how much advice you give them, and no matter how much you give them, in the end, they will do whatever they want to do, and nothing you can do will stop them. Yep. Well, it's tantrum time in our observation hive. Keep in mind that our observation beehive is 2 frames wide, so there is a middle space, a private and in-between space for them to hang out and hide out in. Recently, I've noticed that our bees have been very reluctant to fully work on the outside of the frames, the side that is exposed to our view. Don't get me wrong, they've worked on the outside, we witnessed it, but I know what bees can do. I know what they're capable of. And they have been reluctant to work outside. And last week I also noticed their reluctance to move up higher to the 3rd level of frames. So while their numbers increased, their reluctance to move outside and up was creating among the colony a sense of crowding. This past week I noticed an extreme change in their behavior. The normal sense of work and order was replaced by what seemed to be hyperactivity, anxiousness, and extreme crowding in the tube. I know bees and I know bee behavior. I knew something was about to happen. And by that I mean they were preparing to swarm, to leave. They were not content. I hastily prepared a box hive for them, the hive I was planning on using for them anyway, just not yet, and I transferred the frames of bees, brood, and pollen into a box hive. As I share this with you, I do not want to use any voiceover. I want you to simply enjoy the early morning sounds and experience of transferring the bees. You will see, as I suspected, the middle of the frames were loaded with bees, brood, honey, and everything else a good beehive should have. Our queen was rock solid, but the outside of the frames, well, I will let you see for yourself. There was something about the setup of our observation hive that our girls did not like. And there was no winning this argument. Sometimes with children, you must let them win. Let them have it their way and give in. Same with honeybees. And hang tight after I make the transfer. I have a surprise for you. Wow, a lot of brood. Oh, jeez. So the inside, outside, nothing. Honey up here. It's actually really pretty. Jeez. This little bee's coming out right there. That's perfect. Beautiful. Absolutely perfect. Honey all across the top. That's the outside. Basically nothing. The original queen cage. And so the shed that once housed our observation hive now sits empty and quiet. The tube is littered with girls that I couldn't rescue. But in life, when one door closes, another door opens. A few weeks ago, I secretly added a neighbor to our bee hood. Her name is Flo, and her last name is Hive. And if you have never heard of the Flo Hive family, well, you are in for a treat. The Flow Hive is a new technology that offers an easier and more gentle way to harvest honey from the bees. Put simply, it uses taps that release honey from the upper honey boxes that we talked about last week. The beekeeper doesn't need to go to all the work of removing the frames from the hive, uncapping the honeycomb, and then spinning the honey out. In a flow hive, the upper box has specially designed flow frames, allowing beekeepers to extract the fresh honey without even opening the hive. The honey just flows out. Is that cool or what? And so now we have two busy beehives only feet away from what was previously the observation hive entrance. I only had to move my pondering stump a few feet.